back, everybody, on this fine bank holiday Easter Monday. This is a short video. It's nothing to do with what my normal videos are about, CNCs and lasers and 3D printers. This is you probably know from a lot of the previous videos that I've done. I have a collection of motorcycles, 6 in all. I've got Z650 1977, a 1976 VFR 750. I've got a 1985 VF 500 and R1 2000 carburetor model, Kenny Roberts colours, and I've got the Honda DN01, and I've got my favourite machine, which is the Yamaha MT-01. They're all in pristine condition. However, if you work along the plugs on these machines, because they're not all run every year, you're talking 20 spark plugs. I've got four cylinders, that's 16 plugs, and I've got 2 V-twins, so that's another 4, so that's 20 spark plugs. Now, we had a problem with well, a couple of them. We managed to sort one, but the other one were a bit, it had a misfire when it were running, Z650. It started up okay, but when we were running, you got up to about 3,000 RPM, just a little past, we started to get a miss. Now, we put it down to, it could be a coil, but I were positive that, because both me and my brother ride all the machines, either of us can ride whichever we want to do, because we're insured separately, and we found out that, well, I thought it'd be a spark plug that's breaking down under use, under load, and it was causing a miss. Now, it's very difficult to test a plug in that respect whilst you're running it. You just notice the misfire. So I'd taken all the plugs out and checked them on. They were all sparking okay, but there's no way you know which plug it is that's misfiring, so you replace them all, and they're not cheap for spark plugs, decent ones anyway. And we all know the way that normally we test spark plugs to see if they're working all right, and to do ours, we do them every year, so we have a lot of spark plugs to do, and some of them are very difficult to get in and out, so you want to make sure they're right. And I am no way going to start replacing every spark plug. That would cost me an arm and a leg. So the normal way you're testing is take the plug out, put it into the HT lead, and crank the bike over, see whether it's sparking. And we have done this on the Z650 because it has a kickstart, but it also has an electric start, and yeah, lo and behold, all the plugs sparked. And I thought it was starting to annoy me really, and I thought I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and replace all the spark plugs, when I know for a fact it's only one. So hence I decided on purchasing that. You can see that it's a spark plug tester. Now, how good they are, I didn't know. What they would work like, I have no idea. It was I purchased that from Temu. I think it was it wasn't expensive, about just over £20. And I thought, if this works, and it does 2 spark plugs, if this works, this was highlight the spark plug. Okay, so, and I cleaned all the spark plugs, and you know the normal way of cleaning them, I've got a spark plug here, is you get the spark plug, you get a wire brush, and you clean them. And I always go into the spark plug with the wires, because inside there you can get a build up and it can arc out. So that's the normal way. You can get spark plug cleaners, you put them in and it cleans the spark plug. However, it could be something else, the internals of the spark plug, although they're pretty simple how they work, but you never know. So I purchased one of these. I'm going to get it out for you, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you what it did. So it's, and when you consider the price of this and the price of a spark plug, I had to replace 4 spark plugs, or I had to get the same problem on all the other machines. That pays for itself if it does the job. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I put you on other camera now, because I've got another camera. I've got a Insta360 I'm going to use. Not use it before. I've used it once for vlogging, but I'm going to use it today just for a close-up. So don't know how it'll come out. I'm sure it'll show okay. It is a nice camera, and I use it when I go out for family use and what have you. So I'll switch on to the camera, and then we'll go from there. Right, here we are at the box. I'm on the new camera now, so please in your comment section let me know what you think to it. I don't know. I've not used it before, and with it being a 360 it can be a bit distorting, but we'll see. I'm not using it on 360, I'm using it on a standard mode. Okay, right, this is it. It's a Ansell spark plug tester, SP21. There's a few out there on market, so you'll have to source your own. It comes with instructions. Gives it, they're pretty basic really, but it does tell you what it does. Okay, it comes with a safety cover, and I'll tell you a little story about this, so be aware of that. I chose to get the one that works from a power adapter. Okay, now this is it has the 2-pin plug, but I have the adapter, which is here. Okay, I'll plug it into the power, and then it's done with. Right, I've got the power plugged in. Now, and the unit itself, there's another piece of paper. I'll move that over, put that in there, and put the instructions in. That is the unit. Okay, it takes 2 spark plugs. Now be aware that on this this spark plug adapter, when you get spark plugs you get a little screw cap at the top. You must have that in order to test the spark plug properly really. I don't know where mine had gone, and as you can see, this is the plug here is the one that was causing the problems on the bike. Okay, and I'll tell you a story about that one. So what I had to do is just put a little bit of wire around the top, as you can see there. What that does then is it just makes it locate better in the bottom. All right, and I presume it earths out on here like it would with your bike if you're leaning it up against the cylinder, and then the centre part, the probe, is down in the bottom. Okay, and you have on and off, and you can load the spark plug. This is the beauty about it. Okay, so be aware that that unit is no different to your HT leads. Okay, right, so I'll plug the power in, which is there. Okay, now going back to this is what I mean about this. If you notice, it has some plastic at the front here, different. That should go to the front there. That has to be on for this unit to work. Okay, you see the green light comes on now. If that's not in, that will not work. Inside there is a micro switch, as I found out. Okay, so when you're testing a plug, 1 or 2, you must put that cover on, otherwise it won't work. You won't test it. However, what happened to me was, just be careful on this, and everybody's probably that's had motorcycles or vehicles that's tinkered with them or what have you. at some stage had the HT lead in the hand, and it's given me a nasty shock, and it does. However, this unit here will give you more of a nasty shock than that. Right, what happened was, I had that off and I put the plug in like so. Okay, put the plug in, that's all you have to do. Sit it in, make sure it clips in, and I was using it. Okay, I was testing the plug. I took the cover off for whatever reason this day, and I tried to use the machine and nothing working, and I thought, I didn't realise what this did, and there was no mention really on the manual of tips. It just tells you to put the safety cover on. So I thought, oh, what's that down there? This was still switched on about halfway. What I did then was, I thought, what's that down there? And all I did, this was switched on, I'm turning it off. Because it was still on, when I pressed that down, I thought, well, that's a trip switch. I touched it like that, and my hand touched this the plug. Kid you not, it made me step back. I realised then that don't press that down, because when I pressed that down, because it was on, it activated and the plug started trying to spark, and it came through me. So do be aware of that. Okay, right, we'll get that on, turn the plug on, okay, and then turn it up. Now I'm hoping I might have to pull the door down a bit more so it's a bit darker. Let's have a look. I don't know how you can see that, but that's off. Okay, let me plug that back in. Right, if you turn that on now, it's sparking there. Okay, now this was the faulty plug. I'll tell you what was faulty on it. It's okay now. So I turned it up, and you can see as I turn that up, the spark gets sharper. Okay, more and more. That's on full now, and it's low. This actually loads the plug, and that is an absolute belter spark. Okay, you'll have to bear with us. It's because this has to touch that, and how I plug it in, it just makes contact sometimes. But yeah, it's doing the plug, and it's sparking wonderful. Right, I hope you can all see that. I'll switch it on. Watch for the spark starting. You can see it there. That's very low. So I know that this spark plug now is working. I'll turn it up to maximum, you can see that. And I got to about there, just under halfway, and it started to fail. It was going intermittent. There. And it's still sparking wonderful. Now, I had no way of testing. I cleaned the plugs. However, this particular plug, when I come up put it out, it was sparking on startup, but as I loaded it, it actually broke down. It was intermittent, so hence it were making a misfire. And I found it. This was the third plug. I found this. I would never have found that. I've had to have changed a lot. So I have, you see on one of the previous videos, that I have a unit upstairs in my office, and it's a digital microscope. And the microscope, I thought, that plug's, it's ghost is that plug. I'll get another one. Put another one in. It sorted the problem. Went out on the bike. It cured it immediately. However, I thought, what's wrong with that plug? I'd cleaned it and it seemed okay. So I got the microscope out and I looked it with the light inside. I'll turn this, take the plug out, point there. I looked it right inside there where there's a gap between the centre core and there, and I thought, what is that? And right in the bottom was a piece of my wire brush. I ain't seen it, and it was jammed solid in there, and for some reason it was whatever face or side or the spark plug it was touching, earthing it out. Under low revs it was fine, it wasn't moving the wire, because obviously this is in the combustion chamber. But when you get up to over 3000 RPM, the forces must move the wire, and it must have been touching or arcing out somewhere. And I wasn't sure that this was the main cause, but I managed to grab it and it was wedged really well in. So be careful when you're using these. And I managed to get the piece of wire brush out. Fortunately, it didn't go into the cylinder or drop out under this. I didn't know it was there. Took it out and I thought, right, I'm going to make sure that this plug still works. So took the new plug out of the bike, put this one back in and went for the same run. You only have to go a short run because you only have to get over 3,500 revs thereabouts, and it'd start to miss. You could hear it. It was spot on. It highlighted the problem that was this plug. I would never have found that out. I'd have replaced all the lot. For the sake of 20 odd pound, that saved me. It's paid for itself immediately. So, and you can do 2 plugs, so I now can safely do all the plugs, and that's what I found by using this unit. I mean, it's everybody's choice, whether I'm just explaining what I've done. And if you've got a collection of motorcycles, it's an ideal unit to have. You can test the plugs. If you're taking them out to clean them, take them out, clean them, and then test them in this unit. Because this, I got to about it wasn't even 3,000 on this. I got to round about between 2,500 there, round about, and I could see it straight away. And I thought, man, it's looking funny, is this? It's this spark, it's going dull, and then knocked it back off to just below 2 there, and it was sparking okay. Put it up a bit further, and after 3 it were even worse. So I knew something was wrong with that plug. Until I looked inside it, I didn't realise. But yeah, that's just to show what something at this cost from Temu has the ability to do. And that was a simple plug test, and it worked for me. And we're pretty chuffed with it, me and my brother. And now we've had all the plugs out on all the bikes, and believe me, on the R1 they're not easy to get out of. They're not easy to get out of the MT and some of the others. Z650 is pretty simple, but yeah, fortunately you wouldn't like to be in and out of the plugs on some of them, because it's so difficult. So you need to be able to take them plugs out and test them if you've got a problem, a misfire, and that cured the problem. So, right, so yep, that's it for this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything, and it does help my channel. And thanks to all my subscribers out there, I have finally reached over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm over the moon with it. But you know, and I did ask, so thank you all. But please keep subscribing. I'll keep pushing videos out as often as I can. I like some doing them twice a week. I just do not have the time. I know I'm retired, but I just do not have the time. in order to do 2 a week. It's just I've other things on, new grandson and various other projects that I do. There is a look out for next video that's coming up, and that is I've got a project for my grandson for Christmas, and as you well know, in some of the, it's been mentioned in some of my other videos, that I do or had been doing and done quite a lot until the products that a basic product that I was using actually became too expensive, and that were Christmas Eve boxes, and they were all engraved on the laser. The plates that I put on, the boxes were all painted white, the name plates were all engraved, the tops were engraved, they were all hand painted, and I believe I showed you in some of the videos. And I actually made quite a number of these. I used to buy the boxes in bulk, and I used to do what they call life boxes, which is a box that from the child's born you put specific things in that's a milestone for the child, and at 18 you keep doing that till they're 18 years of age, and at 18 years of age they're presented with this box on their 18th birthday, and that is the life box for them from being a child to being what you can say a man. Okay, and I did lots of those. They're all engraved, they look really nice, as you're probably aware on the videos I did on them. But this project for my grandson, sorry, not my son, he's a bit old for one, is what they call a train and tender. It's locks together. There's 4 parts to the train, there's 4 parts to the tender. The separate units and the hollow inside. So there's a front and a back and 2 sides, and they lock in and a bottom. All right, so there's actually 5 parts to each, if you include the bottoms. And we call it Santa's Christmas Eve night train. Okay, and instead of a Christmas Eve box, this is brought out on Christmas Eve. It's all hand painted and engraved. You can have the name on as well. I've put my grandson's name on him, and once it's up, then you'll fill it with what you fill it for Christmas Eve. A lot of people with the Christmas Eve boxes that I did were putting a pair of special pyjamas in for Christmas Eve, a few treats to sit and have with your Christmas Eve with the parents and watching a bit of telly and that, and that's what you'll do with this. Some people said, oh, that's a good idea, you could use it Christmas Day morning. You could. Christmas Eve night train, it does for Christmas Eve and it does for Christmas Day. It's come overnight, and it's something that to me is like the Christmas Eve boxes. Even ours now, they got out every year, and we put stuff in them, and it's a tradition. And I think traditions in this day and age, a lot are dying out. And I've met some of the young children that I've done the Christmas Eve boxes for, and some of them have said to me, are you the man that did the Christmas Eve box? Yeah. Oh, I love it. I look forward to that every Christmas Eve, that there's goodies and treats and new things in. Simple things, it don't have to be expensive, but the children look forward to that because it's a tradition. Hopefully they'll pass their box on to their children. And I've designed most of it at the moment, and then I'm going to do a test engrave and cut them out, and it's on 3mm MDF, and the trains are about, I would say around about 390 long, so they're not too big for your room, but I will show a video on the design and what I've done, and then I'll do part 2 where I'll actually engrave one, and then I'll show you it locked together and sitting, because it's one of, I'm doing this, and then my daughter, she's actually going to paint it for Theo for his Christmas present, or his Christmas Eve box. He has a Christmas Eve box already. I've done him one. I won't leave him out on that, but this is another thing to add to it. It's just tradition, so stay tuned, look out for that video coming online. And if you want to watch any of my other videos, look back on my channel. I've about 160 odd videos, and I know the specific, but some aren't, some are on other things. So please view, and don't forget like and subscribe. So as I say at the end of every video, this day and age, everybody out there, be safe and be careful. Look after yourselves and look after your family. And until the next video I produce, thumbs up, and I'll see you later. See you in the next one. Bye for now. Bye.